Hello Kindred Longevity Lifestyle Designers, this is Zach with secretsoflongevity.com, and I'm going to do a recipe here. I'm about to do a workout and I need to get some nutrition in me because it's been about 2 or 3 hours since I ate, and I find if I exercise without having eaten a half hour before I exercise, roughly, don't want to eat like right before you exercise, but you want to leave at least half an hour to let that get out of your stomach and move on through. But if you leave it too long, unless you really had a massive meal and you have tons of protein and glycogen stores from whatever it was you ate, I find I don't have the full amount of energy that I want to put into the workout. So I'm making just a little snack with some protein powder. I'm going to use whey powder, but you can use Sun Warrior or your favorite powder that could be beneficial to fueling a workout, whatever that may be. So we're going to start this off. Oh, and by the way, it's going to be an ice cream. But we're not actually going to use ice, we're not going to put it in the freezer, and we're not going to use the blender. So you'll see how it becomes an ice cream. It's something I've been doing very regularly lately, and I really enjoy it. It's a good little snack. And it's got, I haven't done the exact tally of all the calories, but it's not a full meal, but it's like a really hearty snack, you could say. So that's just 1 scoop of whey powder. And to that, I add all the dry ingredients first. I'm going to make a chocolate flavored ice cream. So I add about half a tablespoon of cacao. I'm really not doing that much cacao. Very low in the bag actually here. But yeah, that's probably about half a tablespoon if I add a little more. Next we're going to do half a tablespoon to a tablespoon of mesquite, probably about the same amount of the cacao. Mesquite again has got the protein, it's got a lot of minerals. It's got a whole wide variety of benefits to it, and it's got a very sort of caramelly taste, so it goes very well with cacao in my opinion. And of course maca is right in league with these last 2 ingredients as well, in terms of flavor and synergizing well. Also high in protein, and gives your hormones a boost, which is good for a workout. Got lots of precursors to things like progesterone, testosterone, and other very anabolic hormones that we want to have at optimal levels for any sort of athletic endeavor. Next, I always put a little kelp powder in this just for the benefits of kelp. In general, you get the iodine, and that we need around 4 or 5 milligrams per day. But of course we know what's going on over in Japan, and I actually checked just today or yesterday that kelp is back in stock at Mountain Reserve, so you can find that at the link below. You can also find links to any of these below as well if you want to pick up the cacao. You can get Sun Warrior protein below, that's the one I recommend. It's just what I don't have on hand right now. And then also the mesquite and maca is down there. So here we go. The kelp, I add about 1/8 of a teaspoon. You don't want to add too much because it has that ocean flavor. Then I'm going to add some pine pollen. And that's definitely very good before a workout, just in line with the benefits that one would be getting from the maca, and actually from the coconut oil, and that's what I'm going to be adding in. So this just looks like a big powdery mixture, and the first thing I'm going to add is 1 egg. You don't have to use egg if you don't want to, and if you use Sun Warrior and you want to keep it vegan, you can follow the other parts of this recipe, and later on I'm going to also add some milk, or some raw milk. You can always use water or herbal tea or whatever it is you want to use. I've made this in a variety of different ways on several occasions, just depending on what I have on hand. And yeah, it works out fine. No matter what it is you want to add, that's a wet ingredient. So this is a pasture-raised egg. It's the best kind of eggs I think you can get, and it's what I recommend for anyone who wants to consume eggs. They're chickens that are eating grass and worms and grubs and things, and it's just coming on to that season where the chickens will be out eating those things again, at least here where I live. So they have been living indoors all winter, so the eggs aren't as yellow as they would be. It's still much more yellow than most commercial eggs, even organic commercial eggs. And they have been eating grain through the winter, and they do eat grain all throughout the year, but it's in a much lesser degree than most conventionally raised chickens, even what we'd call free-range chickens, but we know that that term actually means a chicken that's allowed to walk around. So yes, caged chickens are horrendous, but free-range chickens, it could be 500,000 chickens in a massive barn with no windows that are all like standing basically with no room to walk around. They do walk around, but you know, they're sitting there, they're pooping everywhere, and it's just a not sanitary and unhealthy environment for any sort of animal. So free range is definitely good, but it can be a bit misleading. We want to get pasture raised, which is chickens that are eating grass, eating herbs, eating bugs, because they are omnivorous animals. And basically it's unrealistic that any pastured egg would have no access to grain, because for that to take place the chicken would need so much land to roam about it, and they'd be doing that all constantly, that they'd be in danger of getting picked off by predators like eagles, hawks, foxes, etc. So a farmer that has pasture-raised chickens does usually supplement their diets with grain. The only way I think around this would be if you had your own chickens and you had maybe 5 chickens or so, and you had them in your backyard or a fenced-off area. Because it's so few chickens, they can accommodate that size of area. So that is actually the ideal if you have an area where you can have your own chickens in, and all they're eating is grass. But until I'm at that point, the pasture-raised that get a little bit of grain is definitely still an amazing food. And by adding it to this mixture, I basically just mix it in with all the powders until I get sort of they've thoroughly been mixed in and I've broken up most of the lumps. And then I add in the other liquids that you'll see in a moment here. Hey, we'll get back to the main topic of this video in just one moment. I wanted to let you know, however, that if you're really enjoying this video, or perhaps you're a regular subscriber, and you'd like to see me continue making regular postings on this channel, Secrets of Longevity, or perhaps even increase the frequency of these postings, of these well-researched videos, and even the articles on my site, I would really appreciate any contribution you're able to make to support me through any of the affiliate links listed below. There's a menu bar that you simply click and it pops down. If you're watching this on another platform other than YouTube, you can double-click this video and it'll take you to YouTube, where you can then click this bar that will pop down to give you these links. So like I mentioned, there's affiliate links. These are all companies I highly recommend and purchase for myself, and I get a percentage of anything that you purchase through these links, and that obviously would support me. And then there's also a link to a donation page on my site where you can make a PayPal donation, and you can also set up a phone consultation if that's something you're interested in doing. So with that, we're going to get back to the video, and thank you for any support you're able to give to me. So as you can see, this is what it's turned out to be like. It's like a sticky mess, and it's all thoroughly mixed in. I did forget to add the stevia, so I'll just do that quickly. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some coconut butter and coconut oil into a saucepan and just melt it down a little bit on a very low heat, so as not to damage it in any way. And you could also do this with raw butter. The idea behind that is when you add the melted oil, again, at a very low heat, you just want it to melt, and once it's melted, you take it off the heat. When you add it in and mix it in and then add the other ingredients quickly, it's going to allow it to harden very rapidly, because we're going to add frozen blueberries or any other berry that you may have available to you at the end, and that's going to cause it to sort of harden up. And it's actually not as cold as ice cream would be, but it's still hard, because the blueberries have cooled it down quickly enough to actually get it to become almost like an ice cream texture. So the coconut oil melted really rapidly, and these chunks here is the coconut butter, which is melting a little slower, and I just break it up with a fork. And the reason I put them both in there is because I like the texture of the coconut butter. It's very creamy, and the coconut oil melts faster and gives a medium for the coconut butter to melt into. So I use about equivalent amounts of each, just like maybe like half a teaspoon of each, maybe a little more. And once it's all melted down, which it is right now, I turn the heat off, and we add it right into the pre-made mixture in the bowl. So we want to mix that in, and there's one more thing I'm going to add, and you could add anything else you want at this point in terms of flavoring, food, whatever it is you're adding. I'm going to add some raw milk, but you could add cream. Raw cream would be amazing in this. I have done that when I have that available. And then after that we'll add the blueberries, and we'll see how it turns out. Just want to mix in the coconut oil first, because it will actually cool down when you add anything from the fridge, any liquid, and then it might not mix in as well, or might get chunky. But if you mix it in right before that, you're going to get a very smooth and creamy texture once you add the frozen items and even the colder items from the fridge. So this is Guernsey, raw Guernsey grass-fed dairy. Add as much as I want, really. I don't want to go overboard, but I add enough that it's just adding more to the caloric value of this meal / snack. And again, I mix that in. Yogurt would be another great thing to add into this. I've done that many times. Don't have that at the moment when I decided to make this video though. So as you can see, it's a very soupy texture. There's a chunk in there, but that's perfectly fine. And you can have it any texture you want. You don't want it too liquidy because when you add the frozen stuff, you want it to be able to sort of congeal and turn into like that ice cream I was talking about. So you're going to have two things. You're going to have some frozen hemp seed as well as some frozen blueberries. I can even get the bag of blueberries. And I go very liberal with the blueberries. I just love them. They're great brain food, great for the eyes as well. That's probably like 3/4 of a cup of blueberries. I'll add a amount of hemp seed as well. I'm not too crazy now because it's also not being blended, so I'm not going to digest it as well as it would be in a smoothie. So that's probably about 2 tablespoons of hemp seed. Great source of GLA and very digestible protein. Mix that in. I've done this in the past with raspberries as well, frozen raspberries. Absolutely incredible. I can add a few more blueberries because it's not getting as congealed as it has or should. So that's probably total a cup of blueberries. It's a lot, but it's very good. So there we have it. We've got this consistency, which is like ice cream that started to melt, but as you can see, the blueberries are almost like staying in chunks because they almost like all bond together, so they get like frozen along the outside of them. But it's still quite liquidy. If you use less liquid, like the milk I added, and even if you omitted the egg and you just had the oil, like or more of the coconut oil or butter, it's going to get harder quicker and will become more like an ice cream like that. You could turn it more into ice cream just by putting it in the freezer a little bit and mixing it up every couple minutes, and it's going to slowly turn into ice cream. But yeah, that's the way I like it. And check out the links below for any of those items if you wish to purchase them and try them out yourself. With that, I'm going to say take care, try this recipe out at home, and embrace life without limits.